Assuming things is the equivalent of sleepwalking blindfolded on a cliff edge, fully expecting a safety net to be there to break the fall, should you topple over the precipice. In one moment, a leap of logic becomes a fall from grace, says one of the amazing quotes on assumptions. Hello, listeners. Here is Giridhar, and you are listening to the podcast Giridhar's Garady. Today, we have an amazing person on the show, a trainer, learner, storyteller, and a passionate Toastmaster. The one who can inspire any kind of audience with his motivational speech. Presenting the guest for today's episode, Balram. Hi, Balram. Welcome to Giridhar's Garady. How are you doing today?
Hey, hi Giridhar. I'm doing fantastic today, and thank you for giving this opportunity to be a part of your show. I'm doing fantastic. And how are you doing, Giridhar?
Yes, I'm doing good. And thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast.
My pleasure, Giri.
Well, so how do you feel like being a guest today?
I'm feeling thrilled actually. I never thought that I would be getting this opportunity to be a part of a podcast channel of Giridhar's Garady. And trust me, through this channel, my voice is going to reach to many people. And I think this is made possible by you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm really feeling fantastic and really feeling great being a part of your session.
Thank you, Balaram. Thank you so much. Even I feel privileged to having you here on this podcast.
Thanks, Giri.
All right. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the concept for today. Tell us, what is this breaking through assumptions all about?
Well, while the theme for today's session is, I think, assumptions, right? Breaking through assumptions is actually coming to realize the reality, right? It's a way of understanding that you are trapped in assumptions. Sometimes we may not know, and not knowing can actually keep us under the assumptions. So there are many instances of people who never, who never went beyond beyond the limited reality that was known to them, and the reason being they had an assumption which was keeping the visibility limited to them. Right, breaking through assumptions is realizing your true strength, right? And breaking that potential from you to do things that you always thought are impossible for you, right? Giving that first attempt to things that you have never attempted, right? Doing and attempting new things, new experimentations. It could be anything. It could be a new career path, or it could be learning a new language, or it could be anything, right? When you when you attempt to try something new, either you win or lose, and in due course you will learn something, right? And that actually breaks the assumption that you have been holding. I think this is what breaking through assumptions is.
That's interesting. So, can you share few examples from our day-to-day lives relevant to our concept for today?
Definitely, I would love to do that. So, reflecting on my background, Giri, I am from Karnataka, and I was brought up in a very small village called Madhikal. Then I moved on to a nearby school where I completed my studies in a non-English medium school. Right. The example I would like to share from my own life, when I was in school, 8th and 9th and 10th, I was not so studious. After my 10th studies were done, I always had this assumption that I will never be able to speak good English. Though English was my favorite subject, but still I had that assumption. And after taking all the subjects in my intermediate, when I started my first year of college, I deliberately took the risk of writing and taking all the subjects in English, right? When I did that, I did terrible in the first year, but I kept on learning. By the time I entered into second year, I was not only able to speak good English, but also I was able to present many topics in my college. So my assumption that I was holding on to in my school days was, broken down into pieces by the time I completed my 12th standard. This means when you deliberately walk out of your comfort zone beyond your regular limits, you always realize something more is doable. There is more potential in you. That realization can only come when you attempt something new. I think I did realize that when I attempted deliberately taking more risk or calculated risk of presenting myself to the more audience, and I think there is no better example I could think of than this.
That's quite interesting and that's quite inspiring, Balaram. In fact, kudos to you to your determination.
Thank you, Giri. Thank you so much.
Well, now I'm little curious to know, is there a way that we can categorize these assumptions in a broad sense?
Of course, Giri. See, when a human being thinks of assumptions, there are positive and negative assumptions. Let me give you an example of Wright brothers. Right, before the invention of first aeroplane, there was no thought to anyone that human beings can fly. No one ever thought, but the thought came in the form of an assumption for Wright brothers. They started preparing their experimentations around building a flying machine. Right, this was a positive assumption. They assumed this is doable, and they went on to do it, and they they had successful experimentations. Now we see what we see is the product of somebody's assumption, which was positive. So there are negative assumptions which are blockers for your possibilities. There are also positive assumptions. When you experiment them, you come across new possibilities, and that's the exact thing that Wright brothers did. Right, they tried to walk the path which was never walked by anyone. Sometimes we need to have these categories very clearly written down. Is our assumption, if realized, is that going to put us into a new direction? Is that direction going to be a helpful one or negative one? The moment you realize, the moment I break the assumption, I should be very careful whether leaving that assumption and trying new possibilities is good option, or sticking on to that assumption and converting those assumptions into reality. Right, there are more possibilities waiting to happen when you follow the positive assumptions, and there are also unlimited amount of possibilities waiting to unfold when you break through the negative assumptions. So I could think of two major categories, positive and negative assumptions, when I talk about assumptions, Giri.
Okay. Okay. So, like you said, apart from achieving the impossible things, or making the impossible things happen possible and developing our confidence, are there any other reasons that you think that and make us think like why it is important to break through assumptions?
Though, see, the reasons are always there, and depending on each situation, reasons can be multiple. Right. Let's say, for example, for me, who comes from a non-English medium background, I always had a comfortable assumption of not being able to speak English. But breaking through that assumption gave me the possibility of being able to speak English. Now my exposure got changed. My friend circle got changed. Now my career path got changed totally. Right. So reasons could be anything. Reasons could be anything. Once you realize your assumptions are blocking your possibilities, you must try to experiment and see whether it was a fact that you were holding on to, or was it a thought process, or your mental creation, or a mental blocker that was holding you back. Because these assumptions are primarily mental blocks. We never attempt, and we think, even if I attempt something, I'll fail. You're failing in your mind, in not reality. Right, in reality, attempt has to be made. Till the time you don't make an attempt, you will never know that you would have chances of winning, right? Whether you lose or win depends on your attempt. If you don't attempt, you're already losing. Why lose without attempting, right? At least when you attempt, you carry the lessons with you to retry with better preparation, even if you're failing. That's what I think. And reasons are endless. I could think of only these reasons regarding the assumptions, Giri. And that was very good question though.
Well said, Balram. Can't agree more than this. So now let us know, how can we actually break through assumptions?
Okay, so this is definitely not a science. If somebody wants to break through assumptions, the first step is to realize the fact that you are being trapped in assumptions, right? We have our mental thought processes. We have thinking influenced by the people surrounded, around us, right? We part of, their thinking is always a part of our thinking. Sometimes we, let's say for example, you believe somebody, you believe somebody so well that whatever they say comes as truth for you. You never try to re evaluate the situation. For example, you have a good friend with you, and he says that, I think if we attempt a new project with so and so, goals that we had, I think we will fail terribly. He made a statement. Because you trust him and you depend on him, on his confidence so much that you never try to think maybe the statements coming from him are his assumptions. Therefore, whenever you want to break through assumptions, you need to figure out the facts. You need to write down the list of thought processes that you are holding on to. Be it your attempt to get into a new job, be it your attempt to try a new experiment, or even if you're planning to start a new startup. Write down the list of thought processes that are there. When you make a list, you gain more clarity on each thought process that you are holding on to. Now evaluate the thought process against facts and figures, right? Let's say for example, I want to start a online business of books, right? Maybe I want to launch a book category where I would sell books which are used, second hand books. Now go ahead and do the research. What is the demand for used books? Are there people who are willing to buy the books at lesser rates? Are there people who want to spend less money because even if the book is older, it still has the same new content? The content is not going to change there, right? The book condition may be bad, but it is still going to give you the same message, same knowledge, and same lessons, right? Unless you verify, go out and verify these facts and figures, it is very difficult to break your assumptions. Therefore, the follow-up action needed to break your assumption is make a list of thought processes that you have and start collecting evidence to prove those thought processes are right. If you don't get the enough evidence, then they are the bad assumptions. And if you seize them, you have to make sure you are not sticking to them, and change the assumptions and try the new possibilities. As simple as that. But the first step is to realize that you are under the assumptions. Till the time you don't realize that you are under assumptions, you may not even think of breaking through them. Yes,
That's
this
right.
is what I think.
Yeah, that's right. I really would like to appreciate you for explaining us everything in detail along with the example. Okay,
Yes,
all
Giri.
right. Yeah. Okay, moving on, let's talk little more detail or little in depth about this. So, Can you share a small scenario apart from the example that you have told, like your English speaking skills, determination and all, and how you were able to unfold that? So apart from that,
Mhm.
can you share a small scenario from your personal experience wherein you happen to break the assumptions or notice that someone around breaking the assumptions?
Definitely. So recently, I had a friend. Okay, he's a very good friend of mine, who worked with me in my first organization, and then we had that good bonding with each other. That person, uh, he never had the the confidence to speak in front of people. Okay, and we two together tried to go to Toastmaster meetings, and he made his first attempt to speak in front of people, but he was terribly, shivering. Right now, that experience made him realize that he needs to improve that area. And I had an assumption maybe that this person will never improve. That was my assumption. That was not a fact, or that was not a reality at all. Later, we parted our ways. I got into a new job, and then he left India to pursue new opportunities. He stayed in Mexico for 2 to 3 years, came back to India. By the time he was back to India, he had become a confident speaker. I didn't realize what happened in these 3 years. I met him, and he started his YouTube channel, and now he's a very good speaker and also a trainer coach. His name is Joshua Motika. You can Google, you can find him on YouTube. He has good number of followers, and also he is now giving coaching sessions to people. Here is an example that happened through my close, circle of people. Very personally, whenever he tried to sweating, after 3 years, whatever amount of efforts he had put, that made him into a person he is today. And I could not think of better example than him, because I have closely watched him walking from one stage of life where he is totally, lacking the confidence to speak, to a stage where he is now training and coaching people who are willing to become public speakers. And this is an amazing, this is definitely an amazing transformation. And I'm sure he had broken all the assumptions that he was holding on to, and therefore there is a new transformation in his personality. Yeah, I think that is the example that I wanted to share, Giri, here.
Yeah. Very nice, Balram. Again, that's quite inspiring one, I must say.
Thank you, Giri.
All right, moving on. What are the advantages of breaking through assumptions?
Okay, the advantages of breaking through assumptions. I think when you are breaking through as an assumption, you introduce yourself to new possibilities. That is the biggest advantage, and you're starting living in the reality and the real possible, things that you can do on your capabilities, right? And the biggest advantage of breaking through assumption is you stop living in assumptions, right? Each day you know reality well, and you take the decisions basing the reality as foundation to take any decision. Right, there are many advantages. The list can be endless, but I think introduction of new possibilities is going to be a big advantage when you break through the assumptions, Giridhar.
Amazing. So, to understand in a better way, now let us know what are the drawbacks of not breaking through assumptions.
Okay, when you don't break through the assumptions, the biggest setback is you will stay wherever you are. Right, if you want to improve your life, your there won't be any improvements coming, because all the all your assumptions are blocking your actions from being taken to improve your life. Maybe your assumption is that you will do terrible things when you go for the interview, right? Maybe you assume the interview is going to be very tough. What is going to be the drawback? You are going to lose the opportunity. Unless you make an attempt, you don't know whether you will fail or pass in the interview. But when you don't break through the assumptions, you are not even going and attending the interview, right? There is no possibility of getting a new opportunity there, right? There are so many immense possibilities around us. We will always remain unknown to them. Our possibilities will remain unknown to us, right? Our life will continue to move in the same direction where it is moving, with the assumptions which we are trapped into. This is a very serious, problem with many of us. I have seen people not breaking through assumptions and living the same lifestyle, right? So I think we must give some importance to break the assumptions, start evaluating the assumptions against evidence, and that's going to change things for better.
All right. On a broader sense, what is the impact of breaking through assumptions in our day to day lives and on the society as a whole?
Okay, I think when we talk about assumptions, and its impact as a whole on society, there are predominant assumptions prevailing in society, right? For example, if you go back a few years, now the trends are different. uh, we have a dominant assumption that if you educate a girl child, okay, you are not going to get anything. That is a prevailing assumption in most parts of India, right? But that is detrimental to society, right? Regardless of the gender, each human being, each person is having the right to education, right? But we always talk about restricting girl childs and women only to the household activities. Now the situation is totally different, but some parts of India are still holding on to these assumptions. I think when these assumptions in those specific parts of India are broken, we will definitely see more people, more women empowerment coming from these newer parts of India. Right? It is going to change many lives in many positive ways. So we need to identify such assumptions in various parts of India, and not just India. It can be any country. It can be any country. It can be any assumption. Let's say we talk about many things, right? Let's say, for example, religious belief system also, right? We always have made religions as if we have created them, right? Religion is a belief. It is something which is very close to one, and everybody has their own right to believe in their religion. Nobody has any right to create any conflict there, and we must respect all the religious belief systems. But there is a lot of comparison is coming because of assumptions, and assumptions are never broken there. And it is, in a broader sense, if you break through the assumptions, there will be more equal justice in the society, right? And breaking of an assumption for a person is very simpler. But when you want to collectively break somebody's assumptions, you need to really work in a very collective way. It takes a lot more effort than working on one person, than working on many people. And when these assumptions are broken, we will begin to see more stability in the society. That's what I believe, and it is going to create a lot of positive impact when we break through them.
Yes, yes, that's right. In fact, that was a perfect example when you said about girls' education. Yeah.
That's true.
Okay. So before we wind up our concept, just one message for our listeners with respect to breaking through assumptions.
So what I would you know say is, the message would be, we all have lived in assumptions. we have also been living in assumptions without realizing we're trapped in assumptions all around us, right? Assumptions could be a result of our own thinking process or thinking process of people around us, because we take assumptions from others too. That influence is always there. So always remember, there is a bigger possibility waiting to happen only when you reflect on your thought processes. What is the thought process that you are holding on to? It could be anything. It could be negative thought process, or it could be something where you are underestimating your abilities, or it could be something where you never tried but still you hold on to your thinking, right? There are more possibilities waiting to unfold. Just try to get your facts, get your evidence to validate your thought processes. When you see no evidence to validate your thought processes, I think you are trapped very badly in negative assumptions. Realize that, come out of them, and see how many possibilities are waiting to smile at you. I think that's the message I want to give to the audience. Giridhar.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Balram, for sharing such an amazing message to us. Okay, so now it's time for us to move on to a fun segment, that is the rapid fire round. Let me tell you that this is just a fun segment, no logic involved. You will be given some set of questions with two choices. You can choose either of them, both or none. The idea is to end the episode with a smile after a sort of serious discussion so far. So, are you ready?
Yes. Yes,
Great.
Giridhar, I'm ready.
Great. So, Balaram, here's my first question to you in the rapid fire round. Presumption or assumption?
Assumptions. Break them and see the possibilities.
Awesome. This is in line with what you have said so far. Okay. Hope or faith?
Hope. I think when you have that hope, you will always make that first step towards attempting anything new, right? Faith is individualistic, but hope is universal. When I have a hope that I will get a better job, I will never give up on my attempts. When I have a hope that my life is going to change for better if I consistently keep attempting for something that I am trying for, I think my life is going to change positively. Therefore, I choose hope.
Wow, that's quite logical. Okay. Price or prize?
I think prize, which ends with Zadi.
Yeah. Okay. Hear or listen?
Listen.
Yes. Because only once we listen, we can understand.
True. That's very true.
Yeah. Okay. Discovery or invention?
Invention.
Okay. Ice or snow?
No.
Okay. Watch or look?
Watch. When you're watching, I think you are going beyond immediate immediately visible things. Therefore, watch.
That's right. Okay. Dessert or dessert?
Dessert, as I'm feeling hungry already.
Okay. Most of us like desserts, yes. Okay. Knowledge or wisdom?
I think wisdom. Knowledge, everybody has it, but you find very few people having wisdom. Therefore, wisdom.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, Balram. So here's my last question to you in the rapid fire round. My most favorite one. Let's see what you're going to say.
Okay, I'm waiting for it.
Okay. Giridhar or Balaram?
Giridhar.
Okay, but you would have chosen Balaram as well, right?
No, I would still, choose Giridhar. Reason being, this, through your podcast, I am having this opportunity, to look at this possibility of being able to speak and connect with your subscribers, your audience, right? So I think the credit goes to you. Therefore, I choose Giridhar. And without that, it
Uh,
wouldn't be possible.
Thank you, Balaram. Thank you so much, not only for choosing me, but also for joining us on this podcast today. And we look forward to having you once again on the show in future.
Definitely, Giridhar. Thank you so much for the opportunity and giving this, stage, giving this, platform to express my thoughts around assumptions. And I think I have the privilege, to speak through your channel to most of the audience out there. Thank you so much. And I too look forward to come once again and be able to connect with you in the next podcast channel. Thank you so much.
Yes, you are always welcome. And thanks a lot once again for being with us.
Yeah. Thank you, Giridhar. Have a great evening.
Same to you.
Okay.
Well, well,
You
that's
can.
the end of today's episode, listeners. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be back next week with another amazing guest. See you.